Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the National Guard products, number 9275. This is a shim for a strike plate. This is a shim for a 4 7/8 strike plate. That's made of steel. And where this is used is when you are mitigating an excessive clearance between a door and a strike jamb that exceeds the permissible allowance for, according to NFPA 80, which, depending on the door type, wood or metal, your maximum allowable gap will be defined. If it's a wood door, you're dealing with not greater than 1/8 of an inch. If you're dealing with a steel door, it's a 3/16 plus or minus. It's maximum of 3/16 on a steel door is what it can be. But 1/8 of an inch is the strict maximum for a wood door. Well, if you have an excessive gap, National Guard offers, and you can look at that material in the supporting documents below this video to the product catalog and cut sheet, items that can be basically applied to the door and frame that have been tested and found compliant with a fire test, and that will allow a tested and certified opening based on adding their product, assuming it's approved or agreeable to the authority having jurisdiction. This would be a way to mitigate the problem as well. So they have things like stop extenders, and they have intumescence that can be added. The problem is, if you have, and this is for up to a 5/16 gap on the strike jamb gap, if you add material to close that gap, you still aren't going to have a engagement of your latch bolt into the strike when you have that excessive gap. The label on your door will say min or minimum latch throw, and if that says 1/2 of an inch and you have a gap that's a 1/4 inch, and that projection of that latch bolt is basically 1/2 inch, you're not going to have the projection into the frame necessary to be compliant. This strike shim goes with those other parts and will help you be compliant because it will bring your projection of your latch into the strike to within what the requirements of the label. 4 7/8 tall. This will be 1 1/4 wide. Well, 1 3/16 anyway. As I demonstrated earlier, it's made of steel, and it is thickness 0.137, so just heavy on 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so if your gap is up to 5/16, a strict interpretation of that would mean, what does the code say? You know, have they, obviously NFPA 80, the standard, will be brought into code, but if this is heavy on 1/8, you'll bring that total down to 3/16. Well, if you've got a wood door, that's still not good enough. Stacking two of these together, I don't see why that's a problem. But if it's steel door and you had a 5/16 maximum, that would bring you down. But not for a wood door. So understand the maximum allowed gap between the door and frame, and then understand how National Guard's products can close down that gap and by which dimension they can do so. 2 supporting documents you should review: the cut sheet and the product brochure, and they talk about the material that's been tested and applied and used for that sort of installation. So very handy, very helpful. There is extended description below. Fits 4 7/8 ASA Strike Plates, UL certified miscellaneous fire door accessory for excessive door and frame clearances. 45 minute on a UL 10B or UL 10C, positive or a neutral pressure door or negative pressure door, and then positive pressure door for wood or metal doors. NGP 9200 self-adhesive intumescent seal is also required where excessive clearance occurs at jambs and heads. So, you know, if you're adding a strike shim, you probably need other material, such as that seal they've just mentioned. Gray finish, and again, made of steel. There is a link, in addition to the supporting documents, to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the National Guard products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Any questions on the 9275 ASA Strike, shim, or any other National Guard product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.